So it's been about a year and a half now since Hirohiko Araki had first confirmed the continuation of JoJo's bizarre adventure through the tentative title JoJoLands following JoJoLands' conclusion, with the only information being that it would be the 9th part of JoJo and that it would begin after Araki took some time to rest. And finally, after the longest break Araki has taken in between parts, it has finally been confirmed that JoJo Part 9, JoJoLands, will begin serialization on February 17th, 2023 in the March issue of Ultra Jump magazine. As well as there's an early leak from this month's issue of Ultra Jump, which includes a rough illustration from Araki giving a small preview of the upcoming part setting, as we can see a sailboat, a body of water in front of it, and some mountainous islands off in the distance, which isn't much and it is hard to make out any details from the sketch, but when combining this illustration with the name JoJoLands, as well as some statements Araki has given in previous interviews, the setting really starts to take form. Back in 2016, when Araki was asked during an interview, are there any countries you would like to depict in your stories in the future, Araki had said he's interested in Northern Europe, specifically the Scottish Highlands. And when comparing the preview sketch to some landscapes of the Scottish Highlands, they look pretty similar. Although one of the biggest speculations for JoJoLands was the setting of Papua New Guinea, which was mentioned multiple times in Part 8 JoJolian as the lands where the lokakaka fruit came from, which is a country comprised of various islands and peninsulas. Although from the rough illustration, it's kinda clear that the land formations are mountainous compared to the more tropical terrain of New Guinea. Although again, the illustration is so rough, if we were just going based off this drawing, it could be either location. But when factoring in the part's name, JoJoLands, which at first was a tentative title a year and a half ago, but the fact that Araki is still referring to the part as JoJoLands and it begins in just a few months, I think it's pretty safe to say that it's going to be the part's official name, which connects the part's name and first illustration back to the Scottish Highlands, JoJoLands, and Araki has already said recently that he's interested in the Highlands. So from all of that, I think we're heading back to Northern Europe for JoJo Part 9, which actually works out really well, as if JoJoLands does end up being the last part of JoJo, it just feels right that the story ends around the same location it began, in a real roundabout way. And while we're here discussing JoJoLands, I should probably also mention the statements Araki made a few weeks ago in regards to the part, as it was confirmed that the story will take place in the same continuity as Parts 7 and 8, being the Steel Ball Run universe. Which honestly shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, as Araki has been building this universe and the connections between Parts 7 and 8 for nearly 20 years now and clearly has more to tell within this world. But more surprising was Araki also saying that the story will feature Joseph Joestar's descendants and that the Radio Gaga incident from the final chapters of Part 8 was foreshadowing for JoJoLands. Which is a bit strange that Araki specifically said Joseph Joestar, so unless the manga lied to us at the end of Part 8, where Araki had written that Joseph Joestar only had one daughter, Holly, so if that's true, the next JoJo would need to be a descendant of Josuke or an unknown bastard child of Kira Yoshikage. But since it looks like this part is going to take place in Northern Europe, I think the most likely JoJo is going to be the son or daughter of someone Joseph cheated on Suzy Q with, or someone he met before Suzy Q during his time in America, who eventually wound up in Europe, which would create a whole new branch of the family tree, as well as allow the story to take place before JoJolian, during JoJolian, or after JoJolian, giving Araki a lot of freedom in the time period for his next venture. It's also notable that Araki had said descendants of Joseph Joestar, as in plural multiple descendants, so still holding out for the twin JoJo theory, or it would also be interesting to see more of Gappy after the events of Part 8 and see what his life is like, or if he has any connections to this new JoJo in Part 9. So we have a rough idea for the setting and main JoJo, and you can check out my previous JoJoLands video for an even further in-depth prediction on the next main JoJo. So the only thing we are really in the dark about so far is the plot. But based on the illustration, having a sailboat, all I can predict for now is that the story will focus on exploration and discovery, possibly starting with a one-man crew of our main JoJo exploring the Highlands on a sailboat, as Araki had said that the Scottish Highlands had invoked a lonely feel. As well as I can almost guarantee that a lot of the supernatural elements from the alternate universe will be at least mentioned or be significant plot points in this part, like the Holy Corpse, Rock Humans, and the Lokakaka, and probably some new ones introduced in this part as well. As the overarching theme present in both Steel Ball Run and JoJolian is the balance between miracles and curses, the light and dark, and the balance within the universe, and the blessing blessings from the earth, with the Holy Corpse's ability of removal, as well as the Lokakaka's ability of equivalent exchange, and then also the dichotomy between humans and rock humans, enforcing that theme that with every light, there's also a shadow. So I'm really interested to see what theme Araki goes with for this part, considering this overarching theme of balance has already been covered in parts 7 and 8, with Steel Ball Run being stated as, "This is a story of revival, how I was literally able to start walking again being the miracles caused by the positive flow of the energy," while JoJolian is about the calamities and curses, being stated right in the beginning that this is a story about breaking a curse, being the calamity and negative flow of the energy. So where does Araki go from there, and what is part 9 going to be a story about? The positive flow or the negative flow, or maybe somewhere in between? I don't know, but I can't wait to see in February. It's really surreal that part 9 JoJoLands is starting in just a few months, and so many new fans of JoJo all over the world are going to be able to share this new experience of seeing a new JoJo and starting a part from the beginning for the first time, and I just can't wait to share this experience with you guys. And of course, I'm going to be continuing my JoJo monthly chapter reviews like I did for JoJolian, but for now, I can't wait to see you guys in February at JoJoLands. So like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, especially if you want to see the JoJoLands chapter reviews. And yeah, I'm hyped for part 9. All right, thank you all so much for watching. I'm out. Peace.